Hi, how are you? So today I'm doing a little InkTober sketch and reading you a spooky story. This will be similar to the Finnish ghost story video I made a while ago, but with real-time sketching and inking sounds. So I'll start with the story, which will be a bit dark, and then continue by talking about the supplies I used and about the drawing and InkTober in general. And finally, I leave you with the rest of the drawing and inking sounds. I was inspired to make this ink drawing by one of the Finnish folk tales from a book called Crowned Snake and Other Finnish Folk Tales by Kirsti Mäkinen. That's a loose translation of the title. I'm not sure if this book has been translated into English or not. Moving on to the tale. There was a beautiful wedding at a rich household, but during the wedding meal, a small bone got stuck to the throat of the bride and she fell unconscious. No one had any idea she had gone into a death-like state of suspended animation, where a person seems dead but is still alive. The wedding guests were terrified and thought she had a stroke and died. And so the wedding turned into a funeral. The miserable groom gave the bride her expensive engagement and wedding rings and necklace to the grave. This was talked about throughout the village, and even the thieves found out. And so, on the first night after the funeral, the grave was dug open and the thieves were going to rob the bride of her jewelry. But then something unexpected happened. The engagement and wedding rings were stuck on her finger, and one of the thieves tried to get them off in vain. Finally, he figured out he needed to lift the arm up and press the woman's neck with his foot to keep the body in place. And then the body started moving. The thieves were so shocked they almost fainted. They leaped out of the grave and escaped. The body got up and screamed after the thieves, begging them to come back. The young bride would have given them a reward for saving her life, even if their intentions were bad. The thieves didn't stop, since they thought that the woman yelling was a ghost. The bride got out of the grave as healthy as ever. When the thief stepped on her neck, the bone had dislodged from her throat and she was able to breathe again. She came back to her senses and hurried to tell the usher to go to the house to let them know what had happened before she would turn up at the house alive. Okay, that was the story. I chose it because I thought a bride in a coffin would be an interesting topic for my first InkTober drawing this year. InkTober was started by Jake Parker, and the idea is to make an ink drawing every day in October and post it online. If you need ideas for what to draw, there's an official prompt list in the InkTober website, But there are also many unofficial Inktober prompt lists, which you can find with a Google search. Also, you don't have to make a drawing every day, it could be even just once a week. This is the third time I'm taking part in Inktober, but I've never done the full month of illustrations. I think I did 7 2 years ago and maybe about the same last year. This year, this might be the only one I do, or I might make a few others, we'll see. Would you like another ASMR drawing video based on a spooky story like this one? I didn't plan this drawing much. I made a quick sketch in my so-called ugly sketchbook, which you can see at the end of the video, and I referenced that sketch as I was drawing the actual sketch in bigger size. I didn't actually look up any reference photos for this one like I normally would. I just knew I'd draw the bride inside a coffin shape with her eyes closed. Although I was thinking whether I should have one of the eyes open a bit to show that she's still alive. And I gave her some jewelry and a dress and flowers in her hair and a flower bouquet in her hands. But that was mostly to conceal her hands so I wouldn't have to draw them. And finally I added some plants to the sides of the coffin to break the geometric frame of the coffin, since I left the background white otherwise. I started by sketching in my nicer sketchbook with a blue colored pencil, which wouldn't smudge as much as a normal graphite pencil. And then I started inking with a dip pen and a small nib and black acrylic ink. I'll list the supplies below if you want to check them out. I made some inking mistakes and decided to fix them by just coloring in the area with ink. I tried a bigger nib for the dip pen, but then I realized it's easier to fill in bigger areas with a brush. I also started leaving strips of white as outlines for the character, but I started doing that too late and now some parts have the outline and some parts don't. I fixed that with white acrylic paint after filming and put the finished drawing up in my Redbubble shop. After I finished the inking, I erased the colored pencil sketch with a kneaded eraser. I haven't tried inking with acrylic ink and a dip pen in this sketchbook before, and it wasn't a very good combination. So if I make another Inktober drawing, I'll change up some of the supplies. The pages of this sketchbook aren't very thick, so the ink bled through. I did have a scrap paper underneath the page because I was expecting it anyway. But the dip pen was also really scratchy on this paper. Maybe part of it was that the drawing was small and it's hard to draw small details with a dip pen. But I do like the varying line thicknesses. If you like this video, I do make both art tutorials and tips videos as well as ASMR art videos like this one. And there's a new video every week. I will now leave you with the inking and drawing sounds, and I'll talk to you again next week.